Good, good. Okay.
Oh, yeah, thanks. You know what I didn't look at was, the. Look at that.
I think we're pretty straightforward.
That was because Jerry walked in or something. Nobody damage walked in.
It's so quiet. It seems like we should have time. What?
It's the military in him. It's gotta be exact.
Call to order the Kingman Unified School District Board meeting for March 22nd, 2022. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Thank you. Roll call, we have all 5 board members present. We have Ms. Runway and Ms. Young online, and Sarah, Ms. Weiser, and myself present. We'll do a call of the audience. The board will listen to any comments from the public, but will not respond except as permitted by ARS 38-431.01. The board may refer the item to the administration next on a future agenda. One slip. Gail Figueroa.
Esteemed board members, Dr. Dorner, Ms. Wisley, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, I feel really honored that I'm allowed to speak today. I'm going to address a specific issue in special ed, and that is an area for children to decompress, to self-regulate. The IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Acts, mandates a free and appropriate education to eligible students. FAPE states a standard set by IDEA, which requires districts to provide appropriate education in the least restrictive manner. Desert Willow School has a roster of 459 students, 9 of which are in special ed, a behavioral class. At this point, I would like to compliment Ms. Foster, the special ed teacher, Ms. Burns, the assistant principal, and Mr. Batt, the principal. They are doing an excellent job. These 3 people are personally vested in the care and education of these students. This brings me to my next point, the need. And I would like to also talk to you. So I'm going to step over here. And this is the need for an area designated specifically for these challenged children to decompress and self-regulate. It's my understanding that there had been an area, but it's now used for other purposes. Let me describe the class. And because of confidentiality, I will be very general in what I say. It's total chaos. Students wandering around. Destruction. And let me stress, destruction of school property. Students throwing chairs and tables. Students physically assaulting the special ed teacher, Miss Foster. And when I say assaulting, they have hit her, and I have seen it. Students assaulting each other. Students undressing, where the assistant principal, the principal, or aides have to come in, cover this particular student up, and send other students either in the hall or the schoolyard. CFSS, this is Child and Family Support System, is the only agency that helps on an individual basis in the calming and control of some of these students. When one student acts out, it triggers other students. If a student acts out, other students will be sent to the hall or to the schoolyard. And this is an enclosed schoolyard. These are not appropriate measures. How does this chaos in this environment allow these students to receive appropriate education, appropriate instruction? The environment is not working. IEP process that mandates the students to this particular class mandates them to a violent environment, which exacerbates whatever condition these children have been diagnosed, aside from the school system and the IEPs have been diagnosed with. The Office of Civil Rights, OCR, defines individuals with disabilities rights of inclusion and prohibits unequal treatment in schools receive federal money. I am requesting from the school board, and trust me, I know Arizona is on a weighted system and the monies come down from Phoenix according to the disability of each child. So there's not a lot of money to spend on these challenged kids. But I'm requesting due process under section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. A child cannot learn in a violent, chaotic situation. I request the administrator of special ed, and I'm aware she has a couple of master's degrees, Mrs. Trujillo, to invest in this class, to sit in the class and observe the behavior, to do a needs analysis. And we really do need to see on a personal level what's going on in this class. We need an area, a special area where these challenged children can sit in, can perhaps hear some quiet music, can decompress from their violent behavior. This is a stress on the principal, the assistant principal. There are 450 other students in this school. There are only 9 students in this behavioral class. What can we do? I am also requesting more help. We need to appropriate money to put more people in that class to stop this negative behavior. I believe basically this is a civil rights problem. I believe it's the responsibility. I'm going to wind up. I just have a couple of more things to say. I believe it's the responsibility of the state and district areas to rectify these problems. As I said, I realize Arizona is on a weighted system, and it's my hope we can find ancillary funds to put in this specific area to help these children. If necessary, I will go to the state and the federal government. I strongly support Kingman Unified, and realize we must be proactive to make change. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for the time allotted.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else wishing to do a call of the audience? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. This is Betsy Parker, board presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Jax. I too don't want to have my back to everyone, so I'm not sure, but I think my teacher voice will suffice. So,
Use this though real quick. This is for you too.
yeah, was that one even on?
It's
For-
for- it's for online.
Okay, okay. Okay. Well, first of all, we want to begin. I am coming here on behalf of Kingman Area School Retirees Association, and we are dead serious. We are giving you a standing ovation. CASRA members, let's stand up, give them a round of applause. We've got several of our members here because I congratulate you and your teachers on the job that you have done the last 2 years. Let me tell you, I get out of bed every day and say, gee, I'm glad I'm retired. Just letting you know, but we really appreciate your service, and I know what a difficult job you have. I hope it's getting easier, but we are so thankful for what you did and are continuing to do. Let me read you our mission statement. The mission of the Kingman Area School Retirees Association is to promote community outreach and awareness, to provide support of local education and educators, to furnish knowledge of legislative activities pertaining to education, educators, and retirees. We have some goals for supporting our schools. Our first goal is to sustain and increase membership. And we come to you tonight with some specific information about that because we really want to honor your retirees. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. We are hoping that your schools will be receptive to one member from our group to be kind of a school buddy for the school and to be able to do different things. For example, I was telling Cassie, I really enjoyed doing the things when I was JTED superintendent. I loved going to the FBLA competitions, the FFA competitions. We have members who would be willing to help with judges. I had a very, very good time at Lee Williams. I helped out in Mr. Kramer's class. And I was thinking to myself how much I enjoyed it. And I brought a friend along and she said she would help also in the future. So those are some ways that we want to reach out. At our meetings, we have a worthy cause each meeting. And our worthy cause for today, for example, was Boys State. Last month, we had Girls State. We have done the animal shelter. We've done the food bank. Next month, we have the Club for Youth. We always try to have guest speakers to teach us something about the community and the organization. And we try to support the local restaurants and or other areas of entertainment for some of our meetings. That would be perhaps the wine bar or the wineries, just saying, just in case. But one of the big things I wanted to talk about was we give a yearly grant. We call it a mini grant to each of the schools. And it rotates every year. For example, this year we were at Kingman Middle School, and I believe, was it robotics or just technology? Robotics. So that rotates every year. And sometimes it gets a little discouraging because there's only one person who applies. And that's good because that person is the automatic winner. But we want you as principals and school leaders to help us get the word out there more. It was a tough 2 years with the pandemic because we used to go in and try to tell the people about the mini grant. But the mini grant is $500, and next year the rotation will start over. So Kingman Middle School will be at the bottom of the pile for the rotation, but we never miss anybody. And we do share with the academy on that one. We really are interested in getting the retirees involved because there's a lot of legislative action that we support. And I know that everybody's retirement is important to them, especially protecting the pensions. So let me see if I've covered everything. So my question to you as governing board members and principals is, how can we reach out to the people who are retiring? I don't think it's necessarily a real secret list because I just read a whole bunch of names. And so what we want to do is we want to honor those people with a certificate. And we also want to invite them to a retirement party. And then we're hoping that they will join our organization. So I'm looking for direction from how you would like for me to do that. If you want me to come in with the certificates and the letter and write people's names on the top, I can do that. I'll even put them in the mailboxes. I just want to make sure they get to the schools, because in the past, I don't know if they don't get in the mail tubs or if we dropped the ball, but this year we want to do it right. So I'm looking for suggestions from the leadership. You're up, Gretchen.
I can't hear.
Microphone. I think we could work with the board secretary and HR, and then I would lean on HR to talk about private information. I don't know that there's any private information about retirement because it's public, correct? So we could just work with you and the board secretary to give you that list and make sure it's
Yeah,
handed.
because we don't need their phone number
No.
or email at this
Yeah.
point. We want to just give them the congratulations and invite them to the party.
At the end of the year, pick a date, come in, we'll meet with the board secretary, we'll collaborate on it, and we'll make sure it gets to them.
All right. And remember, it's for all school employees.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody who has worked for the school district. And we have people who are retired teachers from other states. We're really just a very fun group, but we want to do good also. We want to do good. So thank you. And I have one more thing. Many of you had Gary Dykman as a teacher, and his wife has given a one-time $1,500 scholarship, and a student from White Cliffs student from Lee Williams has been selected. So I wanted those of you who knew Gary to know that, because the only place he ever taught was Kingman High School. So he was at both campuses, He was a coach and he was a very active community member. So I wanted you guys to know that also.
Thank you, Betsy.
Yes, they have fun meetings.
They do. Okay.
I'm looking forward to joining them one day.
Sounds good. Moving on to item 6, Lee Williams High School presentation on athletics, band, stagecraft, and academic decathlon.
Thank you for having. Thank you for having us, Mr. Jacks and distinguished board. We really appreciate it. I'm going to follow suit. Mrs. Parker was my boss for many years. If it's good enough for her right here, it'll be good enough for me as well. Gary Dykeman was my teacher. He was my basketball coach. So this is a special thing for Lee Williams. We would like to thank you for that. $1,500. It's going to go to a good cause, and it's near and dear to my heart. He was a good man.
I will tell you.
I appreciate that. I had her as a teacher as well, so I don't know if she'll remember. It's been a few years. We are blessed today to have quite a few members of Lee Williams. We have 4 different staff members and several students. These are truly amazing people. We wanted to give you a little bit of an update about some of the great things that are happening at Lee Williams. I'm going to start speaking right now. I have Molly Taylor. This is my daughter. She is a representative of 5 students who recently went to regionals at the Northern Arizona Festival of Theater. And we did this in collaboration with our sister school, Kingman High School. And in fact, we are going to speak in just a moment about a play that we're putting on, a King Lee production, which is at Lee Williams. And it is in collaboration again with Kingman High School. In any event, 5 students went and they competed, and 3 of those students were able to earn a superior award, which is quite a deal, as I understand. I have an uncle who thought this was a very big thing. He is a Columbia University graduate with a master's degree in music. And he said they scored as high as I did at the time when I did this. So this is apparently a very big accomplishment. I'm going to start off with Molly Taylor. She's the only representative here today, but she also earned 2 superior awards. She earned 1 superior award in vocals, wasn't it? And the other one in monologue events. So to earn 2 superiors is really quite special. And then Nick Hunt also attended, and he earned a superior in vocals. And then Riley Taylor, her sister, also earned a superior in vocals. So this was quite an achievement for Lee Williams. And I don't think we've ever gone to this competition before, if I'm not mistaken. So we were really proud that we took 5 and earned, 4 awards for 3 people out of 5. So it's quite an accomplishment. The other thing we'd like to do is we'd like to do a little bit of a pitch here. We have Elle Woods amongst us today. This young lady is going to she's starring in a play, a King Lee production that will be on our stage. When does that start? April 8th at 7 p.m. It is going to be Legally Blonde. And I think it's going to be a fantastic play. So if any of you are interested in having a great evening, April 8th at 7 p.m., April 9th at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. It's a $7 admission. It goes to both Kingman High School and Lee Williams. And we'd like to give a big shout out to KHS, who's been we just love working with them. So I think we have a great play in store for you. I know you have to get back now because you are actually rehearsing for the play.
Okay.
Your mother is right there, so I'll let you go. It's what I do. We have several other people with us today. We even have a 2-time state champion. We have an academic decathlon teacher who I'm just floored at what we were able to accomplish. Our sports performance this year has been amazing. Our academic decathlon, and we've done some amazing things within band as well. I am so blessed and so proud to work with the most amazing people and the most amazing students. And I'm going to pass the baton over so they can talk about the great accomplishments that they've had. I'll start off with Shane Murray, our athletic director.
Thank you. So it's obviously been a very exciting year for Lee Williams. Our first 2 seasons, our fall and our winter seasons, 10 out of our 12 programs actually made the postseason. So that's great. We're setting the bar very high. We're not only getting into the postseason, but we're making deeper and deeper runs into the playoffs. I've got a couple of success stories here with me today that are both seniors and have both left quite the legacy for Lee Williams. So I'll start with Mackenzie Cathy. She played soccer and volleyball for us, but for soccer, she was often the focal point of every team that we played against. So everyone knew to look for her. The program has gone from being dominated in her 4 years from the very beginning, dominated by some of the best teams in the state. Some of the best teams in the state are in our region. But in those last 4 years, we've gone from being dominated to actually not only being competitive, but being very dangerous team to play. Okay, and in that time, in her junior year, they won their first ever postseason game. And then this year, we got to host a postseason game. And if you weren't there, in double overtime, in the second overtime, down by a goal, we scored with 20 seconds left in our season to tie it up, and we went on to win in penalty kicks. It's a very exciting game. Mackenzie ended her career with an incredible 116 goals scored in 4 years. But even with that individual success, she's most proud of being able to maintain a 4.3 GPA in the Cambridge program while still competing in 2 sports. Also, I have Peyton Wayman here. He has excelled in many sports. As a junior, he was a 4-sport athlete: cross country, track, wrestling, and football. He began his wrestling career sort of in the shadow of his older brother, Jimmy, who won a state championship in his senior year. But what some people don't know is that in that same year, Peyton lost in the state final as a sophomore. And that would go on to be his very last loss as a volunteer. Since then, he's put together 2 undefeated seasons while winning back-to-back state championships. This week, he's leaving for Virginia Beach to compete in nationals against some of the best wrestlers in the country. And he's most proud of working with his coaches who really embrace success and following in the footsteps of those before him. Lee Williams has 4 wrestling state championships. Half of them are Peyton's. Thank you.
Wow. Hi, guys. I'm Mr. Christian Knight. I'm a 3rd-year math teacher as well as the Lee Williams Academic Decathlon coach. Academic Decathlon, I should probably talk about because most people don't know what it is. It's also referred to as ACADEC for short. It's a scholastic competition where a team of 9 students compete in 10 events around a central topic that changes year to year. In these 10 events that they compete in, they have 7 of these events that are test-based. These events are art, literature, social science, music, science, economics, and mathematics. There are also 3 subjective events that are judged, and they have students compete in an interview, give a prepared 3.5-minute speech, as well as write an essay. It's a very rigorous program, but it's very exciting and very rewarding too. The central topic for this year was water, an essential resource. Being that water is such a crucial resource to us and the conversation surrounding our water is a modern predicament, it makes the topic relevant to our students for them to learn. In addition to this team composition of about 9 students, it's also divided into 3 categories based on student GPA. So students only compete against students with similar GPAs to keep a level playing field. These categories from highest to lowest GPA are honors, scholastic, and varsity, which is kind of weird because varsity is usually like the highest. Okay. Each division, though, also features their own bronze, silver, and gold placings for each of those 10 events that I mentioned, for a grand total of a bunch of medals that students can potentially earn, right? This year, we had to compete virtually at regional competition, and it was hosted by St. John's High School. Amongst our decathletes, which we only had 7, there were a total of 18 medals won. Of these decathletes, I'd like to introduce this guy, Gabe Hebert. He's a scholastic competitor. And Gabe, I wanted you to share with the board what awards you have won this year, as well as what Academic has meant to you this year, if you'd like.
So hi, if you could not tell, I am quite nervous speaking in front of so many people. Wow, there's a lot of you. It's nice to see you all here and up and out of home though, because being at home sucks. Why would you want to be there? So I'm supposed to be talking about Academic and the medals I won and what it means to me, right? I won a gold in math, a bronze in science, and a bronze in music. Thank you. This is actually my music teacher. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have gotten that bronze, let's be honest. Thank you. Also math teacher, who would have guessed? Strong support team. Woo! Academic this year for me has really been a way to learn how to better manage my time and study, because whoo boy, if you do not study that material, those tests are horrendous. They suck. They're not the greatest, even with studying, but the second you don't study, have fun, I guess. I don't know why you wouldn't. You signed up for it. Whoopsie. I've had a lot of fun with it, especially the team building with my fellow decathletes. Going to competitions was probably my favorite part though, because we all got to get together and just hang out, talk with each other, practice with each other, and it became a real learn about each other. We learned a lot, stuff. Filler words, bad. Nervous. Sorry. I'm supposed to be good at this, actually. It's one of our competitions. I did actually score really high in the interview, which was really rewarding because that is a real life skill that you need for the future. And being told that, hey, you're good at talking to people when in a small situation, being asked questions and answering, that's pretty cool because now I can go take that and apply that to real life. Yay. I'm done talking because I'm rambling now. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Gabe. You're awesome, man. You are. Yes. So Gabe is just one highlight of a lot of highlights for my students. A couple more highlights for students who are not here. First, I want to talk about the math competition. In the 3 categories, we actually swept gold in math in all 3 categories, as well as getting an additional silver medal from another student. Okay. So math teacher, it paid off. It went well. And then a couple more highlights. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. Nathan Byrne, who is a junior, he got the 2nd highest score as an honors student at the regional competition. And Benjamin Davis, who's a scholastic, got the highest overall score amongst all 10 events. So he got a gold for an overall. Mm-hmm. And we were able to compete at state because we were able to qualify. And I'm just super proud of my program and where it's come. But I'm even more proud of my students because they are the program. They are the ones who make the wheels turn and keep me going to do this. I know the Academy had the Academic Decathlon program. It was very much a missing component I felt at Lee Williams, so I wanted to bring it. And I'm glad it's growing. So thank you for your support and being here for this guy and me and Lee Williams.
Good afternoon. I am Shannon Baskam, Director of Bands and Choir at Lee Williams. This is my 3rd year at the building, and previously I was at White Cliffs, Desert Willow, and helped out at Manzanita for a year. So first and foremost, thank you for hiring me way back when, because I genuinely have the best job on the Lee Williams campus. On behalf of the students and families that I serve, I would like to take this opportunity to both recognize the musical excellence that is thriving in our school at Lee Williams High School and thank the members of our educational and local community for the support that has been shown to my students over the past few years. In the past year alone, your marching band at Lee Williams has been ranked 6th in the state overall in our division, attending finals for the first time in school history and scoring the highest score in our school history of over a 70-point advantage. We had 6 students qualify for Northwest Region Honor Festival this year, and 5 of the 6 went on to go and audition at All-State last weekend. And I would be remiss if I didn't state that Mr. Sean Hernandez at Kingman High is going to represent Kingman Unified School District at All-State on oboe this year. The bands, thank you. He was in the van with us. We had a party the whole way down to Phoenix. The band earned and won the right to be called the 2021 Daily Miners Reader's Choice for the best arts organization, and we were the only school in that category. We were up against rock bands and jazz bands from Laughlin and Bullhead and Henderson, and the Lee Williams High School band came through and won best arts organization. Plato states that music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and everything. The continued support of the performing arts from the members of this board and all of its future boards is pivotal to the given educational rights of all Kingman Unified students, past, present, and future. And it is not without that support that I am not able to do my job. The student that I have brought this evening is Mr. Benjamin Connell. He has been my student for 2 years while I was at White Cliffs, and he was in for more pain by being my student when he got to the high school as well. He is an amazing, fantastic percussionist, and at the moment, he is considering education as his future career path. And so I would just like him to talk to you very briefly about what the program highlights, means to him, and such as he spaces out momentarily. Your turn.
You're going tricky. Hi, Ben, as she said. So one of the highlights of band for me was definitely during the marching season, making semis for the first time in the school history ever since Lee Williams finals. Well, yeah, the final. Okay. Making finals the first time since Lee Williams opened up was pretty insane. That was my biggest highlight probably of my high school career. And making it to regional, that was pretty fun. The kids and I, the band members and I, had a great time performing with other schools from around our region and Flagstaff, and I made a lot of new friends there. And going to state auditions, even though I didn't make it, that was also pretty cool. It was a good experience. And it was a lot of hard work and a lot of tears, but we made it work and we got 6th in state, and that's pretty amazing. I'm gonna hand the microphone back to you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to leave this with you. If you're interested in coming to our play, we'd love to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lee Williams High School. Great job. Okay, moving on to reports, Superintendent Dr. Gretchen Dorner.
Mr. President Jacks and members of the board and audience, thank you, Lee Williams. I know the school well. We really appreciated Scott Taylor coming to us and asking if his school could make a presentation. It was very timely. We said, of course, yes. And then it reminded us that we really should be doing this on a regular basis. So we plan to showcase schools. Every school in our district has similar stories and similar accomplishments. So we're looking forward to sharing some of those experiences, which really demonstrates our strategic plan in action. You know, we've talked at board workshops, we're working with our principals, we have it posted on the wall that our strategic plan is important, that we remain committed to arts, athletics, activities, and academics, the 4 A's. If you just think about the presentation that you just heard, all 4 of those A's were represented. There's a pathway for everyone, and our mission at Kingman Unified, and I have our directors and our principals repeat it often, is that KUSD welcomes all students on a learning pathway to informed and engaged citizenship. and you see it oriented, but we want them all to have full experiences on all of our campuses, which is why our strategic plan and our initiatives are so important to us. And I'll leave it there for now because you saw it in action, but we'll continue to give you reports on our plan, our initiatives, and where our kids, our teachers, and our programs are excelling.
All right, thank you. Board reports, I have none unless there is a board report. No. I'll move on for approval routine orders of business. Documentation concerning the matters on the consent agenda may be reviewed at the Kingman Unified School District Office, 3033 McDonald Avenue. Any board member may request an item to be pulled off the agenda for further discussion. Looking for a motion for approval of routine orders of business. Got a motion by Ms. Weiser, looking for a second.
Second.
Got a second by Dr. Lucero. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 9, approve acceptance of audited KUSD annual financial statement for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Mr. President, members of the board, as part of recent revisions to ARS 15914, school district governing boards must accept all annual audits and questionnaires by roll call vote. That's broken up into 3 items, the next 3 items on the agenda. Item 1 is our financial statement. If you got a chance to read, it really dives into the inner workings of our system and how our money works, our net position, the types of expenses that occurred throughout the year, that all of the funds included. The main thing there on page 5 through 6, it has the highlights essentially of the district. And one thing I wanted to point out to you, it was also mentioned at last week's board workshop, is that we do have a net position of 4.6 million lower than the previous year. We'll go into it again. Revenue was down. That's enrollment. Expenses were up, raises and whatnot, minimum wage increase. And as we spoke at the budget workshop, we deficit spent. We spent more than we received in order to maintain our strategic plans and our business practices during the last couple years and including during the pandemic, sorry. So we expect next year to get up to a flat position and then the year after to increase our position. Again, that would be the goal, to get back to where we were a couple years before the pandemic started. So if you have any questions about the financial statement, I can take those now.
Any board member questions on item number 9? No. Hearing none, looking for a motion to accept the audited KUSD annual financial statement for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. Got a motion by Ms. Weiser, looking for a second. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Dr. Lucero. All those in favor say aye. What's that? Do a roll call vote? Oh, okay. We need to do a roll call vote on this, so I will go back and start with Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Ms. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Shumway,
Aye.
Dr. Lucero,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that is approved. Moving on to item 10, approve acceptance of annual single audit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Mr. President, members of the board, the annual single audit focuses on 1, the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting, and 2, federal awards and compliance with uniform guidance. I will say that I find it ironic that this is the year that this law went into effect and us needing a roll call vote after 3 years in a row of having audits that improved and got better and were some of the best I'd seen in my 10 years at the district. The year that we need to bring it forth, I would say we took a step back. So that is unfortunate for me and my team and the district, but hopefully in the years to come, I will be able to show you how much better our audits have gotten over time. There's 2 main findings in this single audit. One was a material weakness and one was a non-compliance known as a significant deficiency. The material weakness is all on me, your finance director. It's related to our mid-state loan through Bank of America. As you know, we agreed to enter into the energy savings agreement, take out a $21 million loan that was going to pay for all of the upgrades in the district. And then we were going to use those savings over the next 20 years to pay for all of that. All of that money is currently held in escrow. It has been drawn down by the company. I was informed by our auditors during the audit that I should have built a new fund, started it with a cash balance of 21 million, and then recorded the transactions as we moved through time. I failed to do so. It will need to be set up now for the future. But that is what that material noncompliance is. And you will see in the audit comment that it was an oversight. You have different types of material weaknesses. You can have a material weakness in controls where your controls are so bad that it is a material weakness of your district. And then you have essentially material weakness because of the amount of money associated. If I would have made the same mistake with a $200,000 loan, then you wouldn't have seen this as a material weakness. But because it is so substantial and I handled it improperly with my financial reporting, that's why it's called a material weakness. Before I move to the second item, would you have any questions about that one?
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify, it's basically just an accounting paperwork procedural item.
Yes, that
Yeah.
should lead to more accurate and efficient financial reporting.
Right,
That's
there's
the,
no difference in the dollars. It was just a paperwork trail account
I
situation.
reported it incorrectly, yes.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment. I read through the report twice and I kind of was a little disappointed, but Aaron, I really appreciate you taking accountability and giving us a more definitive response. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Mhm.
The second item, the non-compliance significant deficiency. This relates back to the food service fund. By law, you're only allowed to roll over the first quarter of your next year's expenses. So when we get to the end of the year, if you have enough money in the bank, which you should, you can roll over a quarter, you can take some away for indirect costs, and you should be about even there, starting that fund at zero, just not at zero, but starting it with just those first quarter expenses. With the rules from the federal government of every student will now be reimbursed during this pandemic, and the participation level of our students going up because of Chartwell's. I had a finding last year because there was 30,000 left in that account that over the quarterly that I was allowed to roll over. Fast forward a year and there was 500,000 left in that account. And so I've spent the last year with food service trying to spend that money down. I'm a bit concerned about items not being delivered in time for us to spend that money down, because as you have that 500,000, we're also making more money right now. So if ever there was a problem of earning too much funds that are restricted to what you can spend them on, we are having that in the finance office. But I work very closely with food service to find ways to spend that down. And we talked during the board workshop exactly what types of items we're purchasing and what we would be looking to purchase next year as well. So yes, it's a significant deficiency, but it is one related to us having too much money in the food service account.
Okay. Thank you. We'll take a roll call vote on acceptance of the annual single audit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. What's that? Okay.
Second.
We don't need a roll call vote on that one? Now we do. Okay. Okay. All right, now we'll go with a roll call vote. Ms. Shumway,
Aye.
Ms. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Weiser,
Aye.
Dr. Lucero,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that is approved. Moving on to item number 11, approve acceptance of the annual USFR compliance questionnaire for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Mr. President, members of the board, the USFR compliance questionnaire is the meat and potatoes of every audit. And so even in a good audit, you're going to have listings of things you can improve within it. Mr. Jacks, you've sat down with me on these USFRs before. Before I dive into this, I would ask how you'd like this to be reported now. Would you like me to go through each finding, or would you like to ask questions about the findings you read? It's at the board's pleasure.
The board have any? I think if we just have questions, I think all board members have read the reports, and so we're probably just, if we have any questions.
Okay. Yes, so please fire away if there's any questions.
So do any of the boards have any questions on the compliance questionnaire?
I don't have any. Hello?
Yes.
I
Okay.
don't have any questions. I just have a comment. I know when I was reading through it, there was a lot of comments about clerical errors, and I just want to make sure that we have measurements on that as to whether they're going to be getting training, coaching, etc.
Absolutely. And they've been in effect prior to the end of this audit, but I work with my team diligently to continue our education for staff in the district and education for my team and any other groups. It is sometimes feels like you're chasing your tail on it, but we stay at it. One thing I learned this year, that if something was corrected 3 years ago and we had several years in a row of that issue not springing up, it's still important for my team to get out there and reiterate some of the rules and compliance things and help people navigate those waters, because you take your foot off the gas and the findings show up again, findings that we thought we had addressed many years ago. So we're upping the level of education, and we're upping the level of how many people we speak to related to all of the findings you saw in there.
Thank you.
Aaron, just as Ms. Young said, I appreciate you taking accountability for the audit itself, and the fact that you'll tighten things up. I have no concerns over that at all.
I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll make a motion on acceptance of the annual USFR compliance questionnaire for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion? A motion by Ms. Weiser, a second.
Second.
By Dr. Lucero. Now we'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Shumway? Ms. Young?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Dr. Lucero?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. The motion passes. That moves us on to item 12, possible action to approve hire/transfer of Kimberly Patello as school principal for Little Explorers Early Learning Center for the 2022-23 school year.
The current school principal of Little Explorers Early Learning Center is retiring at the end of the 2021-22 school year. As a result, staff posted her position and has since conducted a competitive hiring process, including candidates both internal and external to the district. Kimberly Patello, who is currently the principal of Black Mountain School, did exceptional during that process. She has also held multiple positions of increasing responsibility with the district. It is staff's recommendation that the governing board approve the transfer of Ms. Patello to school principal of Little Explorers Early Learning Center, effective July 1, 2022, for a contracted amount as approved by the governing board.
Thank you. Dr. Dorner, any comments?
Enjoys Golden Valley and the families, and we're really excited to have her transfer her experience to Little Explorers, where she'll be working with the Autism Support Program. and with the preschool and daycare setting. And then she will also help us find a replacement for Black Mountain.
Great.
And
Looking f-
congratulations when this goes well.
Okay. Looking for a motion to hire / transfer Kimberly Patello as school principal for Little Explorers Early Learning Center for the 2022-23 school year.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Lucero, got a second by, was that Ms. Young?
Yes.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Kim, congratulations. Item 13, possible action to approve the language of employment contracts and at-will notice for all classified employees for the 2022-2023 school year.
Mr. President and members of the school board, district staff worked in collaboration with the law firm of Hefford Horseman, etc., to review and modify the district's form contracts for the 2022-23 school year. So in your packet are the certified administrator employment contract, certified employment contract, the term contract for exempt 12-month employees, at-will notice for classified employees, and coach advisor with stipend. So the proposed contract language for the coming school year is largely the same as it was for 21-22. The most significant changes are that we added some payment options in conjunction with board policy DKA and exhibit DKAE. And it just gives the people signing the contracts and at-will notices the option to choose how they want those paid out. We also added a little bit of language to with the aggregate spending limits still up in the air for next year. We added a little bit of language that says, however, funding cuts, delays, or other occurrences beyond the district's control may cause reduced funding, which was in last year, or ability to use allocated funds, which is the new part for the 2022-23 school year. And this language is necessary because the legislature has not yet voted to allow school districts to increase the aggregate expenditure limit, and there's no guarantee that they'll do so. So that was added. The ESL and SEI requirement for principals was eliminated in the certified administrator form contracts, as the endorsements are no longer required for that level. And then the language regarding the day-to-day terms and conditions of teacher employment have been removed from the certified employee contract. So things like teachers should arrive to school 30 minutes before the bell, that they should be on site performing services for 36 hours a week, that they work 40 or more hours a week. All of those expectations are still in play for the coming year, but they will be moved to the employee handbook as expectations and removed from the contracts themselves, which we've been advised is the appropriate thing to do. And then there was just a clarification on the language regarding fingerprint clearance cards. If an employee's fingerprint clearance card or other documentation expires during the term of the contract, the employee shall file a timely application for renewal and provide proof of application for renewal to the district. So that was added as well. So the district staff recommend that the governing board approve the district's 2022-23 form contracts as amended from 2021-22 and as presented here today and in the board members' packets.
Any questions by any of the board members on the contracts? No.
I'll make a motion to approve the language of employment contracts and at-will notice for classified employees for the 22-23 school year.
Okay, motion by Dr. Lucero, got a second by Ms. Weiser. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 14, possible action to non-renew the employment of Jerry McGuire for the 2022-23 school year for reasons stated in a letter to the teacher, and authorize the superintendent to sign the letter on behalf of the governing board.
Mr. President and members of the board, for the reasons stated in the confidential memo to the governing board, we are recommending, staff is recommending non-renewal of the employment of Jerry McGuire for the 2022-23 school year, and ask that the governing board authorize the superintendent to sign the letter on behalf of the governing board, notifying him of the non-renewal.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion? Looking for a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, possible action to employ Annie Casson as a school counselor and teacher at SMPAC and Jacqueline Chastain as a teacher at Manzanita through ESI for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. President and members of the board, Ms. Casson and Ms. Chastain have both opted to retire from the school district, but we are pleased that they would like to remain working within the KUSD family by coming back as an employee through ESI. And so it is staff's recommendation that we go ahead and bring them back through ESI in their current roles.
Any comments or questions by board members? Got a motion by Dr. Lucero. Looking for a second. Got a second by Ms. Weiser. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 16, approved donations. Got a motion to approve by Ms. Weiser. Looking for a second. I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. That takes us to item 17, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I'll second that. Ms. Weiser second that. We are adjourned.